Want to talk about the blue card implementation first?
Oh, actually, yeah, that'd be a bit of soccer news for us is that blue card thing. I'll let you guys speak on it first. I have a couple of opinions on it, but if you guys want to go ahead and describe it for us, for those that don't know.
Yeah, so I believe the way it works from what I read is a blue card would be administered for not only dissent, but also fouls of a cynical nature.
Okay.
Mostly involving breaking up counterattacks.
Right.
So, classic ball gets turned over. It's kind of like the technical foul that the NBA has introduced, where in the NBA, if cynical take fouls on fast breaks are now deemed as a technical foul rather than just a normal common foul. What soccer or FIFA, I don't know, was it FIFA that suggested it? Well, IFAB had suggested, I think they're the refereeing governing body, was that a blue card would be issued to any player for dissent or engaging in a cynical challenge. You'd be given 10 minutes in the sin bin, similar to hockey, where you'd be asked to go on the bench and serve a mini suspension within the match. And 2 blue cards also equals a red card. I'm not sure what happens if you've already received a blue card and then get a yellow, or if you are on a yellow and then get a blue card. That is a little fuzzy gray area for me. But initially I thought the breakdown was it was just going to be for dissent, which I personally believe has been a growing issue.
Yeah.
I think ever since the implementation of VAR, referees, especially the central referee, has kind of lost the authoritative figure that it has. I think before in the past, referees were kind of viewed as policemen, and you did what you were told, no matter if you thought you were in the wrong or not. Nowadays, you do see a lot of referees kind of getting bombarded, especially in the big cagey matches. And I think it definitely screws with referees' heads. I think that's why you see a lot of botched calls late in games. I think they might be afraid, especially if they've been refereeing the game one way and there's a particular foul that they're not sure what to give, if it's a penalty, if they should send a player off or not. And the dissent, I think, has definitely been an issue. The cynical fouls, I personally think, should be a yellow card. But what do you guys think? Do you think there's a problem around the cynical fouls? Because I think the idea, we all played the sport. I certainly played midfield and had to break up my fair share of counterattacks, whether I went in the referee's book or not. I think a lot of players nowadays kind of deem, is this worth me taking a yellow card? If it is, a little tug of the shirt, the players go down, and the attack's gone. It definitely kind of ruins the event sometimes, in my opinion. I think there's going to be a lot more goals scored in games if we see it implemented. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about the cynical fouls?
Personally, I think that's part of the game. Tactical foul, take fouls, and you already have a way of negating that. The referee is supposed to give a yellow card when you do that. We all know that isn't always the case, and a lot of times players do get away with a foul breaking up a counterattack. At least in the first half, we see them usually get away with it. Normally in the second half, the referee will start dishing out the yellow cards. But I think that's already there. We already have a rule and a guideline for dealing with that type of situation. And like I said, I just think that those are part of the game. On the other hand, I do think, like you said, dissent is becoming a serious problem now, and it's a problem when it's like a final or an important game, and the players now are looking for a decision almost. Like they're looking to go down, and their first thing is everyone to crowd the official and to let him know he has to talk to VAR. They want to know what VAR is saying about it, and I really think this is all stemming from VAR. I think that if VAR is used in the correct way, and if it's not used like they've been using it in the Premier League, where every single little incident has to be looked at and reviewed over and over and over again from every single different angle, I think if they don't do that and just use it in a logical way where it's a clear and obvious error like they had said in the beginning, I really think that none of this comes about at all.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to make one more point too, and then I'll throw it to Nate. I think you made a really good point in that something that I kind of notice in games is it's players and especially captains. It almost looks like they think they can convince the referee to change his mind and call a foul another way. And we played the game. It seems like, if one of the better ways, more successful ways of drawing a foul was just to scream on your way down. Because the referee assumes that, you've been trotted on or, you've been raked across your ankle or calf. And, yeah, I think players think they can pull the sheet over a ref's head. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, you guys made a couple points. I'll try to hit at them all. But it's interesting because, first off, it's something I'd like to have a better opinion on once they've done the trials, right? They are going to try. I want to see how it affects the flow of the game, how it affects all that to really form an opinion, right? But initial thoughts... It's something that I agree. It comes from VAR because VAR was supposed to create this channel of communication with technology to officiating, and I almost think it's actually fuzzed the communication more. I think, like fans sometimes we're watching games in stadium or on TV, and we still don't even know why they're looking at something sometimes, or why they chose to make a call, or whether or not it's clear and obvious, and that communication is just not there. And then, like you said, like we grew up. I mean. He was on the cover of like video games, so like what's his name? Colina. Like that's an authority. Like nobody messed with him, dude. Like there's not a player that would even question it. Like you went down, he didn't blow it, you're up and you're playing. You know what I mean? And we don't have figures like that anymore. And I don't mean that every ref needs to be aggressive, but at the end of the day, like they're the authority. They get it wrong. But that's what VAR should be, is strictly like let the ref officiate the game how he's always officiated it. And that ball goes out of bounds, and a little while ago he missed a clear and obvious PK because he's human, and then that's where you make the call. You know what I mean? That's what VAR should be looking at. But as far as actually blue cards, it's interesting because the cynical challenge thing, it just creates a level of, is it worth it? Is it worth me sitting on the bench for 10 minutes for me to stop this counterattack? And I think it will change how players will make that decision if it is end up being implemented, you know what I mean? Because a yellow card, you're still on the pitch. That's just now in your book. You got to be a little safer on challenges. But besides that, you're still there to stop the next play. 10 minutes is 100%. 10 minutes. That's a long chunk time of the game. That's a ninth of the game. That's huge.
And the other thing too, I don't know if you saw, but goalkeepers are not exempt from the rule.
Right.
So if a goalkeeper is given a blue card, they have to put an outfield player in goal for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
I mean, some of these teams could score 3-4 goals.
Right. Yeah, the only other option is they're allowed to make a permanent sub for the goalkeeper. Right.
But why would, maybe it suits Arsenal. Yeah, Ramsdale will get some more minutes.
Arteta has some future knowledge or something, but it's...
And the other thing I wanted to bring up too, quick, I remember seeing a couple weeks ago, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Premier League next season is going to introduce a microphone to the referees where they're going to actually be able to explain the on-field decision given. Very similar to what they do in the NBA now. I watch a lot of color commentary for the NBA, a lot of broadcasts, and the referees are always explaining exactly what they saw, why they called it a certain way. I know the NFL has been doing it for years, perhaps the Premier League is taking a page out of the American referees' books. But I think that shows the fact that VAR and referees acknowledge that people are respecting their decisions less and less.
Right.
And it kind of, to go full circle, comes back to, people don't really respect the authority that referees have anymore. And I think it's kind of been growing into a problem. I think it's pretty cool that IFAB is trying to put their foot down and implementing it. And maybe they won't actually implement it, but just the idea of introducing a blue card to the game and how negatively, for the most part, that I've seen it be received, it's certainly negatively received by us. I don't want to speak for the group, but it is by me. I think it'd be kind of silly. It's kind of like a, come on guys, let's grow up and get on with the game. And maybe just the idea of them opening their mouths about it is enough to scare people straight in a way. But we'll see. If we want to do a quick vote, I'm not in favor of it being introduced.
Yeah, as of right now, I'm against it. I think something does need to get done. I mean, we know one of the biggest names and memes about that kind of thing dissent is Bruno Fernandes, who loves getting in the official's face every single game. But it's funny because me being a Portuguese league fan, that's where the problem stems from. Actually, Bernardo Silva had an interview the other day. I don't know if you guys have seen it, or maybe it was an old one. But he was saying essentially that if he goes down once and the ref doesn't blow, he plays. If he goes down again and the ref doesn't blow again, that's it. He's not going down anymore under pressure. He's going to try to fight the ball because he realized that this is how the ref is playing. But in Portugal, as soon as you're going down that first time, the ref's blowing the whistle, and then that's it. It's like you're positively reinforcing that behavior. And then some of these players leave and go on to play in other countries. Like you see, Bruno is obviously a superb, one of the best midfielders in the world, but he has that behavior like locked in, where like, if I go complain, I might get it my way. And a lot of players are going like that. And like you said, I think the VAR thing is because obviously we all know referees can make mistakes, but now the fact that there's corrective action for it, if you force them to make them think that they make a mistake, they will go check it. So there's reason to go argue, because before you were arguing for nothing. A lot of times you were arguing, the ref would never take back his decision ever. But now there's potential for that to happen. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least how it will go down. But I will like to see what you mentioned, the commentary thing, because I think like in football, at least you get to know exactly why they called the explanation. You know what I mean? I don't need them to sit there and announce it over the stadium for like 5 minutes, but at least like on the broadcast, right? Like you said, where there's a direct line into the VAR room.
Yeah, 100%. Well said. Yeah, so you heard it from the Sons of Pitches crew. We're out on the blue card, but we'll see. I like what you said too. I'm definitely curious to see the trial runs if they actually go through it, and who knows, maybe it'll change our mind. But at least for right now, I'm not in on it.
Yeah,
so
it's a no from us, and FIFA should listen to us.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? If you love content like that, if you just love football, if you just love soccer, and you want to see more of our conversations, come check out the Son of a Pitch podcast channel on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all across different platforms. We will have weekly roundups of the weekend. We have all kinds of videos, discussions, breakdown, tactical analysis, all the good stuff. Come check us out and keep on being Son of a Pitch.